You are listening to Belly Birth Beyond with Pelvic Floor Mama. I'm your host, Becca Boving, pelvic rehab certified coach and mom of two. Welcome to the safe space where no topics of motherhood are off limits and judgment is left at the door. Too many mamas are dismissed when they've got valid concerns. If you're sick of hearing that's normal when it feels otherwise, keep listening. Third trimester is here, and now you're wondering, what can I do to prepare for labor? Or what should I be doing to prepare for labor? So often you hear about like the red raspberry leaf tea, maybe some dates, bouncing on a ball, having sex, walking on the curb. Or maybe you're like, I don't know what any of those things you just said are. That's okay. We're going to talk about labor preparation, what's important, what maybe isn't so important, and some things that are overlooked when it comes to preparing for labor. And here's the thing, you can start preparing for labor before you are even in that third trimester. It is never too early, but also on the flip side, it is never too late. Okay. There's a big component, and I'm just going to jump ahead. There's a big component that I think is often overlooked, and it's mentality. It's your mental state. It's how you feel about it. Are you having fear? Are you having anxiety? Does it stress you out? Are you scared? Like all these different feelings that come when it's the unknown. Labor is unknown. There's so many things you cannot control. But instead of focusing on the things you cannot control, let's focus on the things you can control. Okay. So you're going to flip that instead of being like, "Oh, well, if we can't really control it, I'm just going to wing it." If that's what you want to do and you want to wing it, by all means, more power to you, but I'm probably not the person to be talking to right now, and this probably isn't the podcast for you. I'm just going to throw that out there right now. I don't think moms should just wing it. And I think the reason why I feel so strongly about that is because I know too many moms, including myself. I didn't wing it really, but so many moms who have just wung it. And there's one in particular that comes to my mind who was a patient in the clinic actually. And we were talking about labor and things like that and how she felt about it. And she mentioned that she was probably going to be induced. And we were getting to the bottom of like why she was getting induced and if she felt comfortable with that. And if she kind of like asked certain questions about what that process would look like and things like that. And she was like, it's not the doctor's first time doing this and it's not going to be their last. And I'm not the first mom to give birth. And I'm like, fair, fair. She's like, so I'm just, it's going to be what it is. I'm like, okay, like if that's your mentality, fine, by all means. And I just had to ask the question, and maybe it was out of line to do so, but that's who I am, I guess. Is I was like, so how would you feel about like having a C-section? Are you okay with that? And she was like, well, no. And I was like, so do you think maybe you should ask some of those questions about like what your induction's going to look like, how many inductions this doctor's had that have ended up in a C-section, why they ended up in a C-section, like anything like at all? And she just kind of looked at me and was just like, I just knew the conversation was over there, which was fine. Like if you can't help everybody, and if that was her mentality, I totally respect it. And I did. I was like, that's totally fine. It's just something to think about is if you would be okay with that. And if you are, by all means, we're good here. And I won't push the subject any further. And sadly, she ended up having a C-section. So what I'm trying to say is you can prepare yourself and you can ask these questions. But if you're just going to wing it, you have to ask yourself, am I comfortable with what could happen if I just wing it? Because sure, you could still end up in a C-section even without winging it. But how are you going to feel when you did everything you could to not have that C-section? Because when you get to that point, you get there and you're like, man, I wish I did this, or I wish I would have done that, or hindsight, right? Like that comes in and then you feel almost guilty and frustrated, and it can just take a toll on how you feel mentally after having a baby. And it can be really challenging to navigate that. So if you're someone who wants to wing it, I just want you to think about some of those things and how you would feel with it. Okay. Back to labor preparation though, and the things that you can do to actually prepare for labor and how the mentality of it is so overlooked. So preparing yourself. And I think a huge part of like preparing your mind comes from just knowing a little bit more, asking those questions, feeling more comfortable with the decisions that are being made. And if you don't know what questions to ask or where to go or what to do, like that's fine. I'm here to help you. And actually, I have so many great resources who are like high risk labor delivery nurses, so amazing doulas. They can be a great resource too. So if you are going through something specific and you want help navigating that, reach out. You aren't alone. And I want you to have that birth that you look back at and just smile. Okay? That's what you deserve when it comes to labor, birth, pregnancy, all things. You deserve to feel good in everything that takes place. So, labor preparation, knowing what happens. And then aside from just that, mentally preparing. What are some things you're going to do to prepare your mind? What are some things that can help you during labor? For instance, would it be helpful to be like gently reminded, like just relax your jaw, let your shoulders fall, don't furrow your brows, just take a deep breath, like during the pain. Because if you're going to tense up and have that fight or flight response, it's going to slow things down. You're going to feel more pain. It's going to be a little bit harder to get through. So if you can have some gentle reminders like that, maybe you're someone who just needs some physical touch. Your partner touches you in a way that's supportive and not in a way that makes you want to smack them. Just think about some things that can help support you through this time. And you may be like, I have no idea. I've never given birth. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what would help me. Learning a little more about the birth process can kind of help you come up with these things that would help you mentally through the process. My other thing is so often moms are like, I think I might get an epidural, but I'm not sure. We're just going to kind of see what happens. If you are someone who you're like, I'm like on the fence, I totally respect that. Like I'm here to support you whether you want a medicated birth with an epidural or an unmedicated birth, whatever that looks like for you. I just want you to have the birth that you imagined and that you desire. And so if you're kind of on that fence, you're most likely going to end up with the epidural. And here's why, because in your head, you're like, I might do it. And you're like, you have that like open door to it, which is totally okay. But if you're someone who's like, I think I really do want to have a natural birth, I don't want to have like an epidural, I don't want medication, like that type of thing, then you really need to stay true to that path and stick to it and not leave that door open of like, maybe I will at the end. We'll just kind of see. Because if you have that, like, even that hint of, I might need that, I might want that, if you actually do, I will support you. But what I'm saying is there's so many moms who are like, "No, I really wanna have that, like, unmedicated birth, but, maybe." And there's, like, that hint of doubt. That hint of doubt is going to lead you to that path. Because in your mind, you're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna" it's like you're gonna fall back on that. Does that make sense? So if you truly want that, like, really set yourself, like, "This is what I'm doing, and these are the things that I'm going to do to make sure that happens." These are the things that I'm gonna do to make that happen. These are the things that my partner's going to do. Maybe you even hire a doula. I love doulas. I think they are so invaluable. I think every single mom should have a doula if they can. Like, I truly think it should just be like a necessity. They are so amazing. They do so many wonderful things. If you're like, I don't know what, I had a podcast, I think it's episode 2 in season 1 with Emily, who is a doula, an amazing doula. If I were ever to have another baby, which I will not, but I would definitely have her. I would, like, pay her to fly up from where she's at to come help me. So that can be a good resource if you're not sure what doulas do and how they can help support you. But just having that idea of knowing kind of like what you want and then setting yourself up so you can achieve that is gonna be a big part. So mentally, I feel like mentally, we don't prepare ourselves very well for having birth, for labor. It's a marathon, it truly is. It's not something that you ever know when it's gonna end. It's not something that you know, like, how much time is left. So you have to, like, prepare your mind for that, you know? You have to kind of just it's ease into things, have some tools for you. Maybe it's some music, maybe it's your favorite robe or your favorite blanket or, like, something. Something that can help ease your mind and kinda get you in the right place. This is something that I dive into a lot with my pelvic power labor done right program too is labor preparation for the body and then also preparing your mind. I offer labor coaching as well. There will be labor coaching coming in May. So if you are a like June, July, August mama and you want to do some labor coaching, that's a really good way to start is 4 to 5 coaching sessions and then unlimited one-on-one support plus the pelvic power labor done right program too. So when it comes to preparing your body, I think one of the biggest things that you can do, and it's never too late, but that you can do even as soon as you're into your second trimester is getting baby into a good position. So here's the thing, just because baby's head down does not mean baby's like head down in a good position. They could be cockeyed and into your hip or off to the side. They could be sunny side up. They can be in like all these wonky positions. And when they get into these wonky positions and they stay there, it makes it your muscles adapt to where your baby is to help support your baby. And so you could have a ton of tightness on one side and like stretching on the other. And then when it comes time for baby to come through and like be born, it's really hard for them to get back to that center point and to be able to come through the birth canal because all those muscles that were helping to support them are super tight and tense. So trying to get baby into a good position throughout your entire pregnancy is important. And I know second trimester, if you start doing this, there's so much room for your baby to move that they're gonna continuously move and move and move until there's not much room left, and then they're gonna kinda stay put for the most part, and that's okay, but continuously trying to, like, guide them into that position that you want is gonna be really helpful for your body, because your body's gonna be like, "Oh, that feels good." You're gonna feel better. Like, my favorite move to do this is the spinning babies forward lean inversion. Yeah, it looks intimidating and it doesn't feel great when you're upside down for the 30 seconds or so that you're there. But a minute or two after is like a breath of fresh air. Like you feel so much better. Honestly, I wish I kept a recording or kept recording in general of some of the moms that I had do this. And literally 1 to 2 minutes later, it was just like, man, I feel so much better. That feels so good. I don't know if you know Kaylee Cohen on YouTube, who has an amazing YouTube channel. You should go check her out for like workouts, pregnancy, postpartum, etc. She's just amazing in general. I teamed up with her and I had her do some of these moves, and she did that same thing. And I was like, "Dang it, Kaylee, why didn't you say that when I was recording?" And she's like, "I mean, I can do it again." I was like, "No, it's not going to be authentic." But I wish I would have just kept recording until we got to that point, because it truly does. It feels so much better at the end. However, it's not for everybody, so you can always do like a modified form of it, but truly, you wanna get baby into a good position, because this is a huge part of that. So often moms are like, "I pushed forever," or "Baby was stuck," or, whatever the situation may be. Maybe you're worried you have a big baby. They're telling you you have a big baby and they're trying to push an induction or a C-section. But if you can continuously put baby into a good position, you can give birth vaginally with no tearing, little to no tearing. Truly, I've had moms, like, with 9 plus pounds babies give birth with no tearing. And it just comes from preparing your body, preparing your mind, and being able to advocate for yourself and knowing when is a time to induce and when you can say no and feel comfortable saying no. Because medical inductions are truly a medical necessity, but not all inductions are a necessity. Okay. So getting baby into a good position is really helpful to have a smoother birth. But also it's not even just that. It's having the mobility and the of your hips, of your pelvis to be able to move to allow your baby to come through, right? So that's where some of the labor prep movements come into hand, and being able to just get your body ready for that. Okay. So that's the labor prep that I'm sure a lot of people know. Bouncing on a ball, if it feels good, sure, go ahead and do it, but it doesn't do a whole lot leading up to labor. It doesn't do a whole lot leading up to labor. You would be better off doing like some hip circles, leaning on the ball, doing some child pose, those types of things. But just bouncing on the ball isn't doing a whole lot for you. Okay. If it feels good, I've had some moms be like, but it feels good. Then you know what? Go for it. It's your body and it's your choice. I'm not saying it doesn't do anything. It's just not as productive. If that's what your goal is trying to really prepare, it's not going to necessarily do that. So the other piece to this is you are never really taught how to push, when to push, movements that you can do to have an easier time pushing. And then instead, it's like when you get to 10 centimeters in the hospital, they're like, okay, time to push. And you're like, okay, what does that look like? What am I doing? And they're like, hold your breath and push down, and we're going to count to 10. No, 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 no. Say no, thank you. No, thank you. This actually happened to me and I knew better. It's not natural, it doesn't feel right, it's not efficient, and it takes away the oxygen from you and your baby. So it's going to take longer to push. If you know people, or maybe you yourself have spent like hours pushing, no, 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 no. You don't want to spend hours pushing. You should not have to spend hours pushing. That is not how birth should go. It truly just is not. So learning how to push and when to push. So when they are checking you, if you allow checks, which you do not have to, you can say no to cervical checks at any point in time. You have that right. You can say no to anything. It's your body, it's consent. You have to give consent to whatever they are doing. Okay? So if you are allowing cervical checks and they're checking for dilation, instead of asking how dilated you are, ask where your baby's stationed. Where's your baby stationed within the pelvis? That's going to tell more of a story than how dilated you are. Because if you are like fully dilated, but baby's sitting up in a negative position, you are going to be pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, because baby is way the heck up there. They're not engaged in your pelvis yet. And that's going to make labor a lot longer and a lot harder and exhausting. So you want to know like what station your baby is. Again, this is something I go over into depth into the pelvic power labor done right program. So if you want more information, you can grab that. It's really an affordable birth program for you. So that's a huge piece. Okay. Okay, so now how do you push? If I'm telling you you don't wanna hold your breath and bear down and count to 10, how do you push? You wanna breathe out and almost, like, use your diaphragm and help push down. Like, use your core. Breathing out, exhale. On exhale, you're gonna be pushing. And a lot of times, you don't even necessarily have to be pushing. Your body's gonna do that for you. So if you can just keep your breathing steady and even through this, it can make it so much easier. Utilize gravity. Do not, for the love of goodness, lay on your back and let them put your feet up and give birth flat on your back. You got a tailbone that the baby's gotta get through. That coccyx, that little tailbone, that the baby's gotta go over that giant bump to come out. It's not gonna make a smooth birth, and you're gonna be there for a lot longer. You can manipulate that hospital bed in so many different ways, like, probably ways you don't even understand. And there's peanut balls, and there's stability balls, and you can put the bar at the end, like the squat bar at the end to hold on to. You can do tug of war. There's so many different things that you can do to help utilize gravity and help you push. So holding your breath and bearing down is a no. No, 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 no. You can practice pushing right now. You got bowel movements. You gotta go poop, right? So instead of holding your breath and bearing down when you do that, breathe out, relax your body, and allow that to come out. That's gonna give you the feedback if you're doing it right. And if you're like, well, I don't have to poop all the time, so what am I gonna do now? You can roll up a towel roll, straddle it so it's sitting across your perineum, and relax into the towel roll. Breathe out and relax into the towel roll. And when that happens, you're gonna feel more of that towel roll in your perineum than you did before. Okay. So practice pushing. I had a mom who had a pretty decent birth, but one of the things she told me is I really wish I practiced pushing more. I think it would have made it a lot easier. Because if you practice now, then it's natural for your body and you know kind of what to do when the time comes. It doesn't feel as like foreign to you. Whereas if you don't practice at all and all of a sudden you have this baby and you're like, I don't know if I'm doing this right. It doesn't feel right. I don't know. Like that can be nerve-wracking and that can add stress to a situation which can slow your labor down. So practice pushing during your pregnancy. I know it sounds crazy, but seriously, do it. Start practicing your pushing and have a smoother birth. So if you can practice your pushing, you all your pelvis is mobile. It's not a fixed entity. It doesn't just stay. You can open the top of your pelvis, your mid pelvis, the out of your like the outlet of your pelvis, the bottom part of it. Your sacrum can actually move back a little bit to create more space for when it's time for baby to come out of the outlet. There's so many different ways to help move your pelvis to help improve your birth. So by knowing like how your pelvis moves and different positionings you can do and what those positions look like can really help you in labor and birth as well. Because you want to limit how long you're pushing, you want to limit how long you want to limit the different position like, you wanna limit tearing, right? Like, you don't wanna have a big tear. You wanna be able to have a smoother recovery. So by practicing your pushing, learning how to push, learning when you should be pushing, and different positionings that you can utilize even if you have an epidural, is going to make for a smoother birth experience for you. It truly is. I love getting messages from moms saying, "I gave birth and had no tearing." I gave birth to a 9-pound, 3-ounce baby with no tearing. Or one of my favorites is like for second, third, fourth time moms, even. My recovery has been night and day this time. Your birth can help set up how your recovery is going to go. And that's a huge piece that I like to remind you because if we can create a better birth experience for you just by simply educating and practicing and knowing, then your postpartum experience can be a little bit easier too. Because if you've already had a baby, you know postpartum's a wild ride. And if you haven't had a baby, postpartum's a wild ride. And I don't just mean that, it's just now you're taking care of a baby. Your hormones are like plummeting because now you don't have all those pregnancy hormones. You're learning how to breastfeed, which honestly, we're going to have an expert come on and talk about breastfeeding and breastfeeding before you have your baby and how you can help prepare yourself before your baby gets here so you don't feel so overwhelmed when they are here. It's like game changer for postpartum and your mental health. I'm so big on mental health postpartum because postpartum depression and anxiety, it's real and it gets high. And I want to set you up for a better success by like having that support system and having a better recovery, having a better idea of feeding your baby, of getting through those types of things so that way you can truly enjoy those moments and really feel like a person. Because so often new moms are like, I just don't feel like myself. I just feel lost. And I want to try and help reduce that. I want to give you a better experience when it comes to that. So labor prep, it's so much more than just teas and dates and bouncing on a ball. It's preparing yourself mentally. It's preparing your body. It's getting baby into a good position, getting your partner involved. This is something that I significantly overlooked. Is just getting my husband involved because they have no idea what's going on. Like we kind of have an idea, right? Like we know about birth, we know about these things, but a lot of times our husbands are like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what to do. I just see what's in the movies and I hear stories. And the way birth is portrayed in movies and TV shows is terrible. It's terrible. That's part of the reason why moms are screaming in labor. It's part of the reason why moms are, like, holding their breath and bearing down and giving birth on their back and, like, all of these different things. It's just a terrible description of birth, and it's giving them a not accurate idea of what birth and labor is. So getting your partner involved, getting your partner involved with how they can help support you during labor and birth, having those conversations of like, there's a mom I just talked to, and I was like, I think you're someone who you need to know what's going on for you to feel a little bit more at ease. Like for you, that's kind of like what you need. So I'm like, maybe that's something where you ask your husband to, like, your husband knows, like, if your provider or the nurse comes in and tells you something, like, that's where he speaks up and is like, "Hey, can you share about like what that looks like and what that means moving forward and what we can do moving forward?" Or, giving her that piece of like, this is what's going to happen. We also talked about how she needed those reminders of like, relax your jaw, let your shoulders fall, take a big deep breath, try to relax your face. And she's like, yeah, I need those reminders of like telling me what to relax, opposed to just saying relax. She's like, and my husband is just like always like, relax, it's gonna be fine. And she's like, he's such a low key, chill guy. Great, but I can't do that. So I'm like, so maybe this is where you have that conversation with your husband. And when you're in these situations, you're telling him, like, I need you to tell me to like relax my jaw. I need you to tell me to like let my shoulders fall. Tell me to like gently just take a breath and relax my face. Like I need those specific gentle reminders opposed to just telling me to relax. That's going to help me get through this labor. So knowing those different things can make a huge difference, and it can help your partner feel involved and know what to do, because sometimes they have no idea what to do and they just don't know how to help you and how to support you. And so kind of having these conversations beforehand can make a big difference too. Just these little things. Again, all things that I teach about in the labor coaching that's coming up in May. So I'd be really excited to have you if you want some more information. There is also some of this in the Pelvic Power Labor Done Right program too. So you can always grab that as well. But just preparing your body, preparing your mind, understanding the process of labor and how you can have a better, smoother birth, because I believe every mama deserves that. And if we could just give a little bit more education about what labor and birth should be like and how to help support you, we could have less pelvic floor and physical and mental trauma from birth and have better postpartum recoveries and less postpartum depression and anxiety. Although I know there's other things that play a role in that as well. But if we can limit some of those factors, it can make a big difference for you. So that's some labor prep. I'm probably going to have to do another episode on labor prep because there's so much more to do with it. So if you have specific questions, DM me on Instagram, send me an email. It's info@pelvicfloormama.com. Remember, mama's MOMMA. I'd love to hear your thoughts or some things that maybe have helped you throughout your labor and your birth, and just be able to support you. And if you have a birth story that you want to share, I would love to hear it. And maybe we can get you on for you to share it too. Okay. I love you, mamas. Have a great one. Nothing is TMI when it comes to motherhood, and common doesn't necessarily mean normal. Always trust your gut and never stop advocating for the care you deserve. If you enjoyed this podcast, help it reach more mamas like you by subscribing and leaving a review on your preferred listening platform. Keep in touch with me on Instagram by following Pelvic Floor Mama. See you next time.